Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. And in car news, your new car is a privacy nightmare. Now, this is coming from Thomas Germain of Gizmodo as a backdrop here, but I actually went and looked at the study that was done that he's reporting on, and it is very comprehensive, and holy cow. Now, here's what's going on, because if your vehicle was made in the last few years or so, you're probably driving around in a data harvesting machine that may collect an absolute ton of information on you, and a lot of it is actually really sensitive, and that's what's coming to light. Your race, your weight, sexual activity, all these kinds of things are up for grabs. Now, so for example, Volkswagen reportedly know if you're fastening your seatbelt and how hard you hit the brakes. All of this is coming from a new study called Privacy Not Included, which essentially is a project from Mozilla. Now, the nonprofit found that every major car brand, I'll say that again, every major car brand fails to adhere to the most basic privacy and security standards in their newest internet-connected models. All 25 of the brands that Mozilla examined basically failed the test. Now, Mozilla found brands including BMW, Ford, Toyota, Tesla, and Subaru to basically collect data about you as a driver, including your race, facial expressions, weight, health information, and where you drive. Remember, we're all interconnected. Cameras are everywhere. Some of the cars that were tested collected data that you wouldn't even expect to know about, including details about your sexual activity, your race, your immigration status, interestingly enough, also according to Mozilla. Now, according to Jen Kaltrider, program director of Privacy Not Included, the project, in a press release, and I quote, "Many people think of their car as a private space, somewhere to call your doctor, have a personal conversation with your kid on the way to school, cry your eyes out over a breakup, or drive places you might not want the world to know about. But that perception no longer matches reality. All new cars are privacy nightmares on wheels that collect huge amounts of personal information. Modern cars use a variety, for the record, of data harvesting tools. I mentioned microphones, cameras, all that kind of stuff, not to mention you are connecting your phone to the vehicle. There are apps there, and so manufacturers also collect data through basically those tethered phones, those apps, the websites, all that kind of stuff, and they can and will sell or share that with third parties. So Volkswagen, for example, collects your driving behaviors. We talked about the seatbelt and braking, and it pairs that with details such as age and gender for targeted advertising. Meaning, I don't know, maybe you're younger and you brake hard and you're a male or a female, whatever it is, maybe that is good for an advertiser for some reason. Kia, interestingly enough, their policy privacy reserves the right to monitor your quote-unquote sex life. Meaning, if you're getting it on in your Kia Soul or whatever, and there's cameras in there, they may or may not be able to see your butt. I'm just saying. Mercedes, as in Mercedes-Benz, ships cars with TikTok pre-installed in the infotainment center. That is absolutely, I mean, go watch my video, Delete TikTok Now, to get a rundown on that, which I had no idea Mercedes was doing that. It just, ugh. But Mercedes spokesperson Andrea Berg declined to comment, as the company has not reviewed this particular study by Mozilla, but Berg said that the Mercedes Me Connect app gives users privacy setting and the ability to opt out of certain services, but I'm going to imagine not opting out of everything, because why would they do that? Mercedes is making money on you. Phil Diani, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, he is a spokesperson for BMW, also said BMW has not reviewed the study, but he said, quote, BMW North America provides our customers with comprehensive data privacy notices regarding the collection of their personal information. For individual control, BMW North America allows vehicle drivers to make granular choices regarding the collection and processing of their personal information. BMW North America does not sell our customers' in-vehicle person information, and the company takes comprehensive measures to protect our customers' data, end quote. Again, they are not saying that you can opt out of everything. They might give you notices. Hey, by the way, we're data mining you. Enjoy the ultimate driving machine, etc., etc. But the worst one, hands down, Nissan. Interestingly enough, I didn't think they would be, but here we are. Now, Nissan's privacy policy suggests that the manufacturer collects information, including sexual activity. So if you're getting it on in your Nissan Altima or whatever, one, that seems kind of uncomfortable. Two, okay, Nissan can probably see your butt. Also, health diagnosis data, not sure how they're getting that, and genetic data, though there's no idea how they're gathering that, but there you go. I don't know. I'm assuming that they're not taking DNA samples from the car you own. Nissan reserves the right for the record to share and sell, quote, preferences, characteristics, psychological trends, predispositions, behaviors, attitudes, intelligence, abilities, and aptitude to data brokers, law enforcement, and other third parties as well. So obviously that is a huge, huge mess when we are talking about like the privacy of vehicles. And quite frankly, if I'm going down the list, basically everybody failed it. And as I'm looking at the list here, right now, we've got BMW, Tesla's loaded with cameras, Chrysler, Renault, which is not really in the United States, Mercedes, Jeep, Cadillac, Acura, Lincoln, GMC, Buick, Subaru, Fiat, Volkswagen, Ford, Audi, Honda, Toyota, Dodge, Lexus, Chevrolet, Kia, Hyundai, and of course, Nissan, the worst offender of them all. So there you go. If you drive any of those products, and let's say it's 2020 and newer, odds are they're tracking you, and they're tracking you hard. Now, I've done videos on this kind of stuff before with cars and car privacy. I don't think we just knew how bad it was, because of course these cars are seas of sensors, are collecting an enormous amount of telemetry. We've had vulnerabilities in cars where things like the Sirius XM satellite receiver could be hacked and all of that, not to mention bluejacking in cars and all of that. And I've always cautioned against anybody tethering or connecting a mobile phone to something like a rental car or a car that you don't own, because you're going to lose control of a lot of data. But even if you're tethering to your car, make sure that you are essentially, limiting what it can do. Now, if you're connecting to like an Android Auto or an Apple CarPlay, I'd be curious to understand granularly if, let's say, you're sitting in that Subaru and you've got that phone tethered into Android Auto or CarPlay, if they're able to see what you're doing, or if that's more contained in your phone as it's just using the screen and the interactivity. That said, those things have to be built in to the head unit in the car for those to work. So I'm guessing that they're also collecting a lot of information. So heads up to you, if you drive any of the brands I just mentioned, you're pretty much screwed, and that's why we should all be driving cars from like the 1960s. I don't care if they're not safe and they're slower, you're just not being data mined. That's just my thought, but what are you going to do? And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at Nick AESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.